Have you ever looked at a shiny new car and thought, wow, someone once had a wild idea to make something like this? Imagine being that someone, taking an idea and making it into a reality that changes the world. It sounds impossible, yet it's been done before. So what if a simple farm boy could change the entire world of transportation? This is the incredible true story of how a young boy who grew up working the fields of Michigan unlocked the secrets of his success and changed the world forever. Our story begins back in 1863 on an ordinary farm in Michigan. Meet our hero, Henry Ford, an ambitious young man who dreamed of bigger things than farming. Working long hours from dawn till dusk, he tinkered with machines whenever he could, constantly taking things apart just to see how they worked. He was curious about everything, especially pocket watches. As a teenager, he would often dismantle them, much to the chagrin of his father. Despite his father's disapproval, young Henry continued to pursue his interests, and eventually his passion for machines led him to leave the farm and become an apprentice mechanic in Detroit. But little did he know that this decision would change not only his life, but the course of history itself. Over time, his fascination with mechanics grew, and he began experimenting with creating his own inventions. One day, he got a job at the Edison Illuminating Company, where he worked for 8 years. There, he learned a lot about engines and how to build them, but his mind kept wandering to a crazy idea he had. Why not build a horseless carriage, a vehicle without horses, powered by an engine? Back then, the idea of a car was unheard of. People were still getting around in horse-drawn carriages. But Ford's mind was already on the road. He started sketching out plans for his horseless carriage and tinkering in his spare time. In 1893, he co-founded a company called the Ford Motor Company with 2 investors, William C. Durant, and a friend from work named Frank Caseborough. Together they built an engine prototype and began testing it out. They hoped to sell their invention to carriage manufacturers who would then integrate it into their products. But the engine was too heavy and bulky to be practical, so no one wanted to buy it. Discouraged but determined, Ford went back to the drawing board and came up with a new design. This time he created a lightweight engine that could be mass-produced at a low cost. Finally, he had something that people might actually want to use. He and his partners started building quadricycles with their new engine, which they hoped would catch on as a fun novelty vehicle. But once again, they faced a setback. Their first company ran out of money, and Ford found himself back at square one. But this time, there was a twist. 2 wealthy businessmen, John and Horace Dodge, approached him with an offer. They wanted to buy his engine design so they could build their own quadricycles. Ford agreed to sell them the rights to his engine in exchange for a percentage of their profits. And just like that, he had the financial backing he needed to keep going. With his new engine, the Dodge brothers quickly set up their own manufacturing plant and started selling their quadricycles. For his part, Ford continued to tinker in his workshop, dreaming up new ways to improve his design. Soon enough, he had an idea for a vehicle that would change the world forever: the Model T. In 1903, Ford's hard work paid off. With the help of his friends, he founded the Ford Motor Company and began producing his first quadricycle, the Model A. While it wasn't exactly a commercial success, it caught the attention of one important person, Guglielmo Marconi, the inventor of radio. Marconi bought one of Ford's quadricycles and invited him to demonstrate it at his laboratory. As Ford drove around Marconi's workshop, he noticed that everyone stopped what they were doing and stared at the strange new contraption. Suddenly it dawned on him that his quadricycle wasn't just a novelty, it was a glimpse into the future of transportation. Inspired by this realization, Ford redoubled his efforts, and in 1908 he introduced the Model T, a car that was more advanced and affordable than anything else on the market. At the time, most cars were luxury items. expensive toys for the rich and famous. But Ford had a different vision. He wanted to create a car that was within reach for the average person, something that would put the freedom of the open road in everyone's hands. At its launch, the Model T was priced at $850, which was relatively affordable for the time. But Ford didn't stop there. He wanted to make cars even more accessible. So he implemented a new system of mass production, which allowed him to manufacture entire cars in just 93 minutes. Thanks to this innovation, by 1924, Ford Motor Company was producing over 1 million cars per year. By 1913, Ford introduced the first moving assembly line for automobile manufacturing. Cars were now rolling off the assembly line faster than ever before, and Ford Motor Company was becoming a household name around the world. Ford cars were now being produced in factories across the globe, including Canada, France, Germany, England, and Japan. And soon enough, Ford's dream of putting a car in every garage was becoming a reality. The Model T was such a massive success that it remained the best-selling car in America for nearly 20 years. Its affordability and reliability made it a popular choice for families, farmers, businessmen, and everyone in between. And people loved the car, not just because of its practicality, but also because it represented a new way of life, a life of freedom, adventure, and exploration. Throughout its production run, Ford refined the Model T with small improvements, addressing issues like steering, and introduced new colors, replacing the iconic green with black, red, blue, yellow, and gray. But despite its popularity, the Model T eventually became outdated. In 1927, Ford launched the Model A as a replacement. It was a sleeker, more modern car with features like a windshield wiper and a rear-view mirror. But the Model A couldn't match the success of its predecessor. By 1932, sales had plummeted due to the Great Depression, and the Model A was discontinued. However, Ford's legacy was secure. He revolutionized the way we work. He had transformed the automotive industry forever and made cars affordable for the masses. Ford's impact extended beyond just the automotive industry. When he opened his first factory, he paid his workers just $2.50 a day. But as his business grew, he realized that his employees needed to be well-rested and happy to do their jobs well. So he raised their wages to $5 a day. At the time, this was unheard of. Most factory workers earned about $1.50 to $2.50 a day. But Ford knew that paying his workers more would increase productivity and create happier customers. Plus, he wanted his workers to be able to afford the very cars they were building. The move paid off. Workers were more productive, and the company became more successful than ever before. Other companies scoffed at Ford's high wages, but they couldn't deny the results. Soon enough, other factories began raising their wages to compete with Ford. Ford also introduced other benefits for his workers, such as free medical care and dental checkups, which again were unheard of at the time. He was even one of the first to introduce paid vacation. All of these benefits made Ford Motor Company the place to work. But Ford's impact went far beyond just his own company. His philosophy of paying higher wages and treating workers better spread throughout the country. As more and more companies adopted these practices, the American economy boomed. Ford didn't just change the way we work, he also changed the way we live. Before cars were expensive luxuries, only the wealthy could afford to travel. But thanks to Ford's affordable vehicles, people could now explore new places and experience new adventures. Families could take road trips, businesses could expand their reach, and people could commute to work with ease. Ford's impact on society was immeasurable. He gave people the freedom to explore, the ability to travel, and the chance to dream big. Sadly, Ford passed away in 1947, but his legacy lived on. Today, Ford Motor Company is one of the biggest automakers in the world, and its cars are driven by millions of people every day. Ford didn't just build cars, he built a better world. Henry Ford was a man ahead of his time. He saw the potential of the automobile to change the world, and he made it happen. He was a visionary, an innovator, and a leader. He showed us that with hard work, determination, and a clear vision, anything is possible. Now it's your turn. What will you do next? Will you watch another inspiring video to level up your life, or check out more motivational content? The choice is yours. But remember, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So choose wisely. Don't forget to stay tuned for more amazing stories. And thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the life of a true legend.